Hi friends, David here from Learn Stage Video and Above AVL. And in this video, we're talking all about setting up your camera settings for live events. So how, like, for example, we've got that camera and we've got this camera, which is auto tracking, which is so stinking cool. And, then you've got this camera. How in the world, do you make them all look really good and work in a live setting? How do you make it look professional so that your cameras match, so that things add up, and when somebody goes from camera to camera to camera, it all makes sense, and it looks good with your lighting and video walls if you have video walls? We're going to cover that today and help you do exactly that so that you can start doing professional level video that looks really good, along with lighting and audio and anything else you may be doing. Let's dive in. So as we mentioned, if you haven't seen the previous video that came to this over on the main Learn Stage Lighting channel, you definitely want to check that out. Because we're using these PTZ cameras from a company called BZB Gear, who they've rocked my socks off because they've got cameras that are solid cameras that aren't overpriced, but are still easy to use and have really good software, have really good features. They look really good. They support their products well. I'm pumped. I'm always pumped when we find a new brand because we were looking to add cameras and we found one that really fits what we do and how we love to help people. Not only that, you can see this is using auto tracking, really good AI-based auto tracking, and these things are not gonna blow you out of the water in terms of cost. It's amazing. All that to say, how do we get, this camera and this camera and that camera, right, to all look good, all do what they're supposed to on our stage and not be a hot mess? Well, to start, we want to get some basic settings right. And we've got them dialed in, but I want to show you them and show you how we can tweak them to make them work. So let's dive over to the computer and we'll take a look. All right, so we're over here, and actually the auto tracker's following me, which is pretty cool. I think that honestly, except for the mess, is probably a better shot than this desk cam, which is probably why I'm going to replace it. But regardless, we're here in the camera configuration. So, when it comes to setting the exposure levels for cameras, what I've noticed with pretty much all of these cameras, including these PTZs, is that if you want to work with if you want to pan tilt and move it, the controllers are awesome. Like if we walk over here, right, to our camera controller, if I want to do the basics, I want to do focus, I want to do zoom, I want to do pan and tilt, right? I mean, this controller rocks and it's great for that. I found with this one and other controllers that if you're trying to get into specific white balance settings, specific exposure settings, a lot of the times it just goes a little bit better if we do it in their software, in their web browser. So, walking over there, let's show you how it's done. Okay, so pop over here, switch cameras, and what you'll see is I'm just at a web page that has all of their info that is on their camera for configuration, basically. Okay, and so they've got lots of settings in there. Of course, you don't want to rely, I'm in a dark spot, I'm not well lit here, but you see here it says video parameters. So this is the main screen we're going to be on. And we're able to come in here and set our focus where we need it. In this case, we're manual, because when we have it at the LED wall, we want to set it manually focused, okay? So that because we've got an LED wall, we don't want it to focus on the LEDs, we want it to stay manual. That means if somebody goes really dramatically forwards and backwards, you may see areas where they're out of focus. So you've got to decide, do I want it on auto mode? Do I want it on manual mode? We'll do that. I think I just made it confused on accident. Oops. Then we've got exposure. Exposure basically is how the camera sees light. And, if you're used to a more basic camera, then you might be used to some really basic exposure settings, like you know, the ability to basically make it brighter or make it darker. Having the actual options in here is key, the actual exposure. For example, if I kick it over here to manual exposure, that means I get shutter speed, I get aperture or iris, and those are going to be, and I've got gain. And those are the three that we're really going to mess with. And so what we've done here basically with this camera, if we walk back to our screen, is we essentially have it set up so that we're lit really well. We've put the iris all the way down at the lowest number possible because that gives us the shortest depth of field, meaning that the background gets the blurriest compared to the subject, aka me, and that helps your LED walls look best. If you don't have LED walls, that's less of a concern. Also for LED walls, we've gone ahead and we've taken the shutter and we've set it to 1/60th. Why? Because we're running our LED wall, we're running the signal to it, and we're running the refresh rate of the LED or of the signal on the wall at 1/60th. So we keep those consistent, and as long as you have a decent wall, then it should look good on video, as this one does here. And then gain can be used in order to make it brighter or darker. Like we have it turned to 1 here, there was a 0. We turned it to 1, and that allows us to get the proper brightness level, okay? And it's really pretty much that simple. If you're doing cameras for live events, you want to put as much in manual as possible. So the last thing we've got is white balance. White balance is going to be here in the color tab, and we're going to set that to the color temperature of our front light. Don't know what your color temperature is? The easiest, simplest way to do that is go find some kind of object that's white, which this is pathetic, here's the tissue. You go find an object that's white, adjust the white balance until it looks the proper color. And then you're generally probably going to be good. On this camera, just to match my other ones, I also just pulled the saturation down about 10% because the colors looked a little overdone. You can also mess with the hue a little bit. As you can see, that kind of is a green magenta shift, which definitely can help with especially LED lighting, which of course we all use. Other than that, you also have some brightness, contrast, and sharpness in there that allows you to work with that. You can even go with style, which allows you to have some just different looks from how it captures the information. But overall, essentially, if you want to make your cameras look really good and really consistent, then step one is always to have consistent lighting. We talk about that. We talk about that on Learn Stage Lighting a lot. You know, having it so that wherever you are on your stage, actually I'll walk back over here, wherever you are on your stage, you know, whether you're here, whether you're there, you're consistently lit. Then manually go ahead and set the exposure on your cameras. As long as people are generally staying in the light, they're going to look good. Like here, I went back a little. So if somebody was standing here, you know, I might make the decision in the camera to adjust the iris to make it just a little bit brighter. It's going to blow out the backlight that's hitting me because I'm closer to the backlight. So that's an artistic decision. If it's not somebody who's presenting to the audience, maybe you just leave it be. Because honestly, you know, everything else looks really well exposed, right? The pixel strips, there they are. The side lights, you know, the backlights, everything else is really exposed. We've just got a little extra color, right? As opposed to here, where we've got a slightly stronger front light, slightly less backlight, but it still looks really good. Okay, so if you want to set up camera settings for live events on stages, for stage lighting, you know, definitely keeping things consistent is the key. If you don't have consistent front light, it's not going to work well. If you leave things in auto mode though, what you're going to see is as stage lights come into view, you know, things like you see those LEDs on those little PARs back there, those are our Dominar PAR S's. You're going to see the camera will kind of catch those and overcompensate for it and make the person on stage dark. So you want to make sure your lighting's as consistent as can be, and then you leave your camera settings in manual, and generally you're going to be really good. Things are going to look great, and you're going to be putting out video that's a lot more professional than you were before you watched this. So if you liked this video and you're looking for more, definitely subscribe here, subscribe to our sister channels. They're all listed below. And when you need cameras, when you want to get into this thing and start shooting video, it doesn't have to be outrageously expensive. and we can help you put together a package that has everything you need and gets it into your hands so that you can start working with cameras, working with video, get multiple shots, get cameras that auto track, and begin to take your events and your productions to the next level. If you want to do that, just head over to aboveavl.com. You can add things to your cart or just use our contact page. Get in touch with us and ask us whatever. Let us know about your space, what you need. We'll help you find the perfect cameras. We'll help you find the perfect accessories, put it all together, put a nice bow around it, and get you your personalized price. If that sounds good, we'll see you guys there, and thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.